Out. Okay. Hi, my name is Cindy. I'm with Bloom4.us, and I'm here interviewing my dear friend, Jacalyn Burke. And thank you for being with us today, Jacalyn. I would love for you to share a little bit about you. And first of all, we are friends. We've known each other for a while, so I'm just going to share that. And you may have seen actually an interview that Jacalyn did with me recently. So, Jacalyn, I would love to know what you would like to share with us. Can you share a little bit about
Mm.
you?
Oh, my heart is so full right now because I there's a lot of love coming up between us, and I feel that. And I want to say thank you for opening a space with me, Cindy. We are good friends. We go back a ways, and I actually suspect we go back over many lifetimes because we just kind of get each other. So yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate your talents, and I appreciate this space. So a little about me. My name is Jacalyn S. Burke. I'm British. I incarnated in the 60s in 68, which gives my age away, but hey ho. Um, and I'm a polymath, I'm an artist, I'm a writer, I'm a wayshower. I like to say that. I'm interested in anything and everything. And I am so grateful to be alive today at this time because I honestly think we got a front row ticket to one of the greatest shows of the cosmos. And I'm just like you, Cindy. I'm just in awe of how everything is unfolding for the human race right now in this real time.
Interesting. So, would you care to share a little bit more about either what has led you up to this conclusion and with the backgrounds with all of your
Yeah,
diverse
that's
experiences?
I guess I should start at the beginning. I chose in this incarnation, I call it Inception, to come through a Stargate. Now, we all have the ability to do that. We all have the ability to come through without our memories getting wiped. But most of the time, we choose to come in blind and fresh because that gives us a truly novel human experience and allows us to take on our heroic journey in a way that is totally authentic. For this incarnation, I chose not to do that. And like I said, I came into the Matrix, if you will, remembering who I was, where I came from, and having a set of coordinates that allowed me to just go through childhood and remember, what I was here to do, which is an extraordinary thing and at the same time excruciating because here I am in this little body playing human, and it's like, oh my goodness, oh no, I don't want to, no, 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 take me back. So my childhood was spent being aware of how humans often aren't authentic, um, aren't always truthful with each other
Mm,
for a lot of different reasons, not necessarily nefarious. And so I would read people's energy and I would know what their reality and their truth was, but I would also be aware of what they were saying. And it was like gas, it was like coming into a society that permanently was gaslighting each other. So learning to navigate that experience, being raised in an ordinary family, just like anybody else, feeling a little bit like a lot of us do, a little bit out of sorts, and knowing that there would come a time when I would be fully activated. So I would remember in completion who I was and what I came here to do. And I just want to say right here and now, I am one of the many way showers, and we're all here at this time way showing in different forms. My particular gift and is that I am able to be in the quantum field, be in a human body. I call it interdimensional, and I'm able to take the codes which is constantly giving us information all the time in the quantum field. Think of the Matrix when all those things came down. I'm able to access that in real time. I don't channel. I'm not a spirit medium. I'm not pretending to, I'm not stepping out of the way for somebody else to come in. I'm actually reading in real time what is being transmitted through the cosmos in the quantum field. And I'm able to translate that and share that in everyday language with people at this time, particularly through a body of beings called the Nine. Now, I can just jump straight into that if you want,
love it.
and explain that. Yeah. So, I would say I was always aware all throughout my life. I've had a very checkered, diverse human life experience by design. I meandered. I've done every kind of job you could imagine. I've been in every kind of new thought movement you can imagine. I've read every book, followed a lot of different teachers, and I've done that primarily to understand how humans interact with their spirituality. And so it was very experimental. And it was only until I got to I would say, just before I turned 50, that I had an experience that really catapulted me into my gifts. And that's where I met Cindy. It was around that time that Cindy and I met. So I was working at the time as a ghostwriter in New York City. I just had a client meeting with somebody that we both know. It was on the River Hudson, and we were having a business lunch. And she said, "Look, I got to go. This is a great meeting. I've got to go to an event down the road. It's with this teacher." And she said his name, and I said, "Okay, great. Have a great time. I'm off home because I could walk home from there." So I started to walk, and then all of a sudden, about I think about 10 minutes later, it was a good walk. She comes charging after me, panting, and she said, "He wants to meet you. He wants to actually meet you." And I said, "Well, who?" And it turned out to be a frequency teacher called Mass Sajidi. And so I was like, okay. And I went to this event, and there was a lot of people in the space, and I met him, and he just said to me, he said, "I got one question for you. Were you born in London?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "You're the one to write my first book." And
Wow.
exponential intelligence, and it was a formidable project. It was an amazing experience, and I met Cindy because Cindy was a part of the team. That's how we became friends. And I was immersed into an environment where all of a sudden I was learning that, and it tied in with what I already know. I guess it was confirmation that we are actually energetic vibrational waves. We're not solid. We're in a holographic universe. And in this 3D dimension, it's just a rendition. So I guess I learned the language of what I already know. I was able to articulate it and understand and comprehend it and practice different techniques around coherence, frequency coherence. And what that did, and anyone who understands about this kind of frequency work, is the more coherence you come into, the wider your bandwidth, and the more awareness, the more that you're able to pull in. And the more that you see the correlation between how you think, feel, act, and your environment, it's reciprocal. So that was a tremendously powerful experience. And within that organization, a couple of years later, I got to know another person who would become a teacher in her own right, and that was Kai Russia. And so I left Mass's organization. I went to be with Kai Russia, and together we built a community. I started out as I don't really know, project manager, ghostwriter, I don't know, but it became a partnership where we were able to sync our gifts and bring in a tremendous amount of information while Kaya did really very amazing healing work, which I witnessed and I was able to experience myself. And so, if you will, it was like, and I'm not comparing apples and oranges, but it definitely took me on another path that was, for me, more enhanced for me and my experience. And so I learned a lot. I learned a lot in that space. I wrote a lot of the books, did the courses, and I guess I learned on the job how to how to waste show, how to be an example, how to grow a community. It was an extremely powerful experience. And then about 2-3 months ago, I stepped into individuation, what I call individuation. And something up until that point, I guess about 6 months ago, I began to get this feeling that I was the transmissions I was getting were specific to a group of beings. And I just always, these beings have been with me since childhood. I always regarded them as just the beautiful beings of light, right? And that's how I see them, as beautiful beings of light. But then a couple of things happened where I began to connect the dots between what Dolores Cannon spoke of with the Council of Nine, what Phyllis Schleimer, who wrote The Only Planet of Choice, spoke about. And people like, I don't know whether you remember Uri Geller and that whole movement that they spoke about this Council of Nine. And all of a sudden, it was like, okay, so this is who I'm working with. This is who I'm partnering with. And so I was like, okay, so what are we doing here? And the first thing that happened was they revealed to me that it's not like, how can I put it? It's not like I have a hotline to these beings. They're very, very powerful, and they're not interpersonal in that sense. They literally hold the space with creator, source God in this huge quantum, sentient quantum field. And they act as a set of principles or values that literally stabilize the cosmos, everything in it. That they provide, how they described it is they provided creator God with a sense of context, if that makes sense, contrast and context. Because imagine if you're the being that knows everything and you are everything, that can be the same feeling if you flip the coin as knowing nothing because you've got no context. You've got no one to
Mm,
play against. So they're fractalized versions of creator God source. They're not in place of it, the great one. They call it the great one. But they said it's like, imagine if you can be as far individuated before you merge with source. So it's just that point before you merge with source, but you're still individuated. That's where they're at. And they said, imagine if you could stand in front of the sun, but not be burnt, but you could behold the magnificence of the sun and hold context for it, so that the sun could see its own magnificence in this ring of observation around it before it was consumed. So you were not quite consumed. So they are the highest level of individuation, and they have a great deal of love for all of creation. Doesn't matter what it is, all of creation, and they hold that space. Now, they're not talking to me directly. They don't have, again, that's not their job. But what they do is they permeate the sentient quantum field with information that we're all receiving in real time all the time. It's just that I guess I have a kind of a transmitter code, decoder, and I'm able to transmit or decode that into language and ideas and values and teachings and just concepts that are being bombarded to this planet because we've entered the cosmic cage, and that's a big statement. So I just want to back up. We've recently emerged as a species out of the Kali Yuga age. Now, the Kali Yuga was not meant to end for another 427,000 years. So what that means is that the Kali Yuga, if you want to take part in all of the great sacred practices and customs that came from the Kali Yuga age, so you think about all the great religions, all the great spiritual traditions, all the great practices, right? Lineages, masters, gurus. If you want to take that path, that's still an option. But there's another option on the table, and it's called the cosmic age. And the cosmic age is literally what it sounds like. It's about humanity moving past this idea of being locked into the earth and being able to reconnect once again to its wider galactic family. However, there's a caveat to this, and the caveat is we have to make the grade as a species. So there are certain things that we have to get across the line together collectively before we're even accepted or even entertained as being able to join this greater civilizations. And we've been in a kind of quarantine for thousands and thousands of years precisely because of our behaviors down here. So the nine have gifted me, and they've gifted many way showers. And then I'll make a pause. Sorry, I know it's a lot of information, but they've gifted a lot of way showers, teachers, speakers, influencers, um, with a set of values and principles that will bring about unity consciousness. And we can see the evidence now of polarity, extreme polarity, but we can also see the beginning blossoming emergence of now a general unity consciousness. In other words, what's happening to my brother or sister out in this land over here is happening to me. When they destroy this habitat, they're destroying something in me. So we're now integrated, and what the nine are asking us to do, or what they're broadcasting is the message, is that it's time for the human race to grow up. And they literally, these are the words they used. It's time to stop worshiping the technology. So it's time to step out of superstition, and it's time to understand our right relationship, not only with the cosmos and these galactic civilizations, but also with source creator God, to come in and reconnect with source creator God in a way that is mature and is expressed in a way that is not religious. So it's very much about unity consciousness, and we can see that everywhere in the earth today. People are reaching out for communities. They wanted to come together, and it's a beautiful. I wouldn't say it's a philosophy, but it's a beautiful thing that I'm developing. It's a body of knowledge. I don't like to say teachings. It's a body of knowledge that I will be sharing in more detail, and I'll break down what I'm doing at the moment. But in the fall, I'm thinking about putting this into a book form and a course and what I call grow groups. Because the one thing that the nine have shown me is that because we don't have hierarchy anymore, we're all an aspect of each other. So anything that we get given to learn from, we're meant to learn it in pods or groups, like little tiny groups, because we're meant to give each other the 360. We're meant to share and mirror it back, because humans come with their own internal biases and perceptions. So we're always looking at the world from our particular lens, and that is not an accurate rendition. So they want this information to be shared and taught and grown out. And it's I have to tell you, Cindy, it is very pragmatic information that I'm getting. It truly is. Do you know what it is in a nutshell? It's about being a fully immersive human being on this beautiful material planet, you know?
Mm, mhm.
So I'll take a little pause. I know there's
Oh,
probably a little information.
no, that was beautiful. I'm just, wow. I just was amazed at the information that you just shared and brought through. Beautiful. So keep going. I'm not stopping you. So it's
Great. So yeah, so well let's start with this information. So there's going to be a course called, well, let me start right now by saying what I'm doing now is it's not channeling. I'm not a medium.
right, right.
Um, I'm 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 giving I'm doing these live transmissions, which means it's hair raising for me because I do a live broadcast Monday to Friday in this a wonderful Mighty Networks community called Astara. And I will definitely give you the links to add underneath that. And as of this timestamp now, you know what year we're in.
Hmm.
Um, I'm there live Monday to Friday, and I'm there 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I literally go into the quantum field and we bring this information out. And then I've got a group that you're a part of. We meet once a week, sometimes more. We're in a WhatsApp group, and again, we're just all coming together and growing. But the nine have given well released again. They're doing it through everybody, but for me, they've released these nine principles. Okay, and
Hmm.
if you can just indulge me, because I want to make sure that everything I share today is is perfectly correct. So there are nine principles, and the first principle is that we clear out our electromagnetic field because humans have collective
Mm,
trauma through our lineage and our community, through our history. Think about the last 500 years. That's baggage. So we have to do it individually first, but then we get agency. But then after that, we're going to work together to clear out our collective field. And that's important because that's the first path to healing our trauma. And we do this through the I am. That's the internal I am, which can clear and override any program that is running in our system. Principle number two is we step into our truth and we respect the truth of others. And I call this omnism. So we're tolerant. We see that everything, even in dysfunctional situations, is a deep dysfunctionally, it's a call for connection. So we begin to look to each other with compassion in our hearts, and we begin to see that everybody, no matter what they're doing, they're trying to find truth. So
hmm.
holding a space for each other's truth and making sure that we work towards a world where we're able to hold our own individual truth and have value and meaning, but we're not going to encroach upon other people's freedoms either. So that's principle number 2. Principle number 3 is, and this is not in, it's not that you have to do 1, 2, 3 first. It's the third one is about love, and it's about coming into a state of unconditional love for ourselves, because once we do that, then we are able to love everybody else the same way, all things, not just humans. Principle 4 is that we produce coherence in ourselves, in our lives, and we feel truly free. So we're not in a system anymore where we need a guru, a master, a teacher. We no longer need orders, rituals, rites, mystery societies, dogma, or rank. We don't need any of that. We can now come together and commune in equality. It's the end of hierarchy. Now, that said, if you are in a practice that has some of those things and they're very sacred to you, that's your path. It just means you don't have to if you don't want to. It's everything's available to us.
Mhm.
Principle number 6 is that we remember that we're earth humans. First and foremost, we're not here doing time. We're not here serving time as though we're in a jail. This is one of the most beautiful places to express our divinity in the cosmos. We're very fortunate to have won the lottery and got a human body. So we're earth humans. There is something unique and special about our DNA. There is something unique and special about this planet. It's an extraordinary planet and consciousness. So we stay grounded in our humanness. We don't ever want to give our power away. We want to stay centered and grounded with the earth, and we want to flow with life, human life. Principle 7, we walk a simple path. So we don't get dragged into dramas and debates and discord and conflict. And we see a lot of that reflected in our world today. We stay centered, and we walk a simple path, and we stay in the present moment, always connected, always present. Principle number 8 is we integrate the mind and the heart with all of our intelligence systems, and that's called enlightenment. So we become, through coherence, through integrating all of our energy centers, we naturally begin to resonate with coherence, and we become interdimensional. That just means that we have a wider bandwidth through which our electromagnetic field can bring in more awareness of perhaps other experiences that we're having. So that's interesting. And the whole time we stay connected to source. Now the 9 describe it as being nested in source, which I think is a beautiful way to express it. We are nested in source. So we never leave source. Source is always with us, God, creator. But we're connected to source through our planet, and that's what keeps us safe. That's what stops us flying out and having experiences that pull us out of ourselves. So
Mm.
through this, we can become luminous, and we can become, as the great teachers have said, we can become a light in this world, and light affects change. We become light workers, but in a sense that is sustainable, if that makes
Mm.
sense. Yeah, it's an energy, it's a light and an energy that we don't burn out. So principle number 9 is my particular favorite, and it's called individuate, and it's literally the concept that um, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. When the student is ready, the teacher will disappear.
Mm.
Right? So life is meant to be a continuous individuated journey. We're not meant to be somebody else point to. The seed cannot grow in the shadow of a tree. So we're meant to individuate. We're meant to forge our own path. And all of the other 8 principles are fulfilled in this 9th, which means that it guarantees our sovereignty and independence. And the 9 have said time and time again that it's time for humans to become independent, to become mature, and to take their power back and not give it away. No, we don't have to give our power away as a species to any other advanced civilization. We can do this for ourselves. So in conjunction with these 9 principles, they've also given me 9 values, and I think that is what I'm going to be teaching in the
Mm.
fall, because the values and the principles are interchangeable, but one is our internal world, us individually, and
Uh-huh.
the values are community, and how we can build community through these shared values and come into a state of unity consciousness and actually build this new planet, this new earth that we're all hoping for. So that's where I'm at, and this has been a recent Uh, I don't know what you would say. This has been a recent thing. This has been less than a year. All of this has come forward for me, and I think it is just that, I'm ready. We're all stepping into this. The
Hmm.
time is right. So I've done I feel like I've done a lot of talking, so I'd like to
That's
um
fine.
give you an opportunity to respond.
It's compelling. I might have missed it, but the number five, did you state what number five
I
principle?
probably, oh yeah, I did. So,
Okay.
yes, I did. You know what I didn't do? I didn't say what it was. So principle number five is that we're free. We're
Oh,
free. We're
okay.
not, we're not, remember all the, during the Kali Yuga, there was a lot of religions and movements that said that we were deficient,
Yes.
that we're enslaved, that we need to be saved, that we need to be redeemed, right? And
Yeah.
all salvation means at its root word is to come home. That's what it means. So we've come home.
Okay.
Creator is saying to us, you're free. You don't need hierarchy anymore. You
Hmm.
you don't have to choose that anymore. It's the cosmic age, so everything's there for you.
Hmm. That's beautiful. And then another question I had earlier was about the coherence and expansion, because that was one of the things you said at the beginning what do you mean by coherence? Can you share that for the listeners?
Right. Yes, I can. So for many, many, many years, my energy systems, I was incoherent. So my life was dysfunctional. And I'm
Okay.
like a lot of people. A lot of people we go through life and we pick up ways of doing things from our families, and we wander and we have relationships and we become this kind of dissonant being.
Hmm.
Because at our core, we are comprised of vibrations or resonance or frequencies. So this
Yes.
is not solid, right? So you've got energy centers that spin and
Hmm.
create waves. They create velocity and they create waveforms. And it's your waveforms that actually create your reality. So it's a holographic universe. So when you're in a state of deep coherence, and that just means you're grounded, you've calibrated, you've synced all of your energy centers, and you're stable, your velocity is stable, you're resonating consistently at the same hertz, and you're also able to sustain yourself. You're not reaching outside of yourself for energy. You're not trying to reach outside of yourself and use other people to get where you need to be. You become self-sufficient. So coherence to me, if you had to experience it, it would be a deep, enduring sense of peace, an inner peace. So that doesn't mean life doesn't throw things your way. It just means you're solid. It's a state of being solid. Now, I have been shown some techniques that very quickly get you into a state of deep coherence. Again, if you want to spend hours and hours meditating, you can reach that level of coherence that way. That's there for you, and many people find that very beneficial. But there are other ways now using breath and intention and the I
Hmm.
am space and invoking the I am space. It can take between 1 and 2 minutes to get into a deep state of resonance, and I've experienced that, and I'm sharing that Monday to Friday with people, and it's having a phenomenal result. So deep state of coherence can last your whole day, and again, I guess if you had to put a characteristic to it, you're effortlessly in the now moment, if that makes sense. You're effortlessly present. You're not having to force yourself to be present. You're effortlessly present because you're grounded, because you're authentically you, and you show up. And because you show up that way to everybody, you don't change who you are depending on who you're with. Because you waveform out, people respond and situations open up because you don't have any friction in your field. There's nothing stopping what it is you are resonating out. We all have things we want to resonate, like love and joy and relationships and abundance and health and all those things. Well, there's no
Hmm.
friction. So learning how to come into a deep state of coherence, there are many ways to do this. This is not the only way. It's just an
Right.
efficient it's just an efficient way that I've been shown from the nine. And so I share that with people. We do a thought of the day and then we step into coherence. And
Hmm.
it's changed my life. I'm a totally different person. I used to be like this a lot before I learned how to do this
Hmm.
for myself.
It's absolutely beautiful. Thank you for explaining that.
Oh, you're
And
welcome.
what it feels like to me is it's like you're grounded and you're centered. It's not as easy to pull you off center and disrupt your peaceful beingness.
Yeah.
So, and I so enjoy the Monday through Fridays with you in
I
the
love that
Astara
you're there.
community.
I love that you're there. I just see you.
Yeah,
It's like a friendly face because I go there and I don't have any plan. It's like, you know, just
it's
we just
it's
show up.
it's
You know.
beautiful. It's so beautiful. The information that you're sharing and bringing through, and it's in the moment, in the present moment. It's just so
Hmm.
beautiful, and the I will just say exercises or the few
Hmm.
minutes that is helping people to become coherent are beautiful practices we can take throughout our day. So I am so grateful for this work, first of all, for you stepping into this sharing mode and sharing with a greater audience. And I'm so excited for all the people that will get to work with you and
Hmm.
experience what it is you're sharing because this is the new way. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I want to acknowledge too, Cindy, your tremendous gift because you and I had a session recently where you gifted me an experience with the Akashic Records. And I want to say that you just acknowledged it too. It's that because we're not in an age of hierarchy anymore, that this
Hmm.
master's better than that master, what we're able to do in pure innocence is to come together as a family and to share our gifts with each other. And that's how we're going to get the human race across the line because we're not in that competition ego space anymore. It's like, what can you show me? That's phenomenal. Thank you for that gift.
Hmm.
And we're all gifting each other. Everybody has a unique set of gifts at this
Yeah,
time.
so beautiful.
No,
So,
it truly is.
yeah, so is there anything else that you would like to share? You have tremendous basket of gifts too. They're so, and they seem to be opening even more the more we do this work, and I've found that within myself as well. So, do you
Hmm.
have anything else that you want to share, or do you see anything upcoming that like upcoming trends for the collective? What you know,
We're going to
or
see. We're going to see
okay,
contrast. I mean, you
okay,
know, I don't
we'll
think anything I'm going to say is going to be rocket science, but I think I can speak to how we're all feeling. What we're witnessing is the building up of two worlds. One is being released and it's crumbling, and that is
hmm.
the world of discord and disharmony and polarity. The other one that's coming up, and it's coming up through the grassroots, it's coming up into through individuals and it's coming up through communities and groups. You know, find your tribe, find your resonance tribe.
Yeah,
And what's permeating that is what is it's individuated unity consciousness. So it's not like we're all becoming Borg-like, it's that we're actually coming together beautifully different, but with a common purpose.
mm,
And the vision that we hold is that the human race's story is going to be much, much bigger than where it's currently at. That's the
mm,
exciting news. Now, how do we get there? Well, we all have to come together and we have to find a practice to get
yeah,
us through the turbulence of one world shifting into the other, because there will be some turbulence. There will be some, there'll be a lot of change, and we're going to need to be connected, and we're going to need to be connected to source, but connected to each other. And we're going to need to remember to own our power because the old system is going to desperately try to hold on to its power in every single form, whether it be visible or invisible. It's going to try to hold on. And what
mm,
we've got to do is we've got to work through our trauma and our shadow and our splinters. And if we can get healthy and clear, then the good news is that we will come together and we will bring about this new world. And it's going to be within our lifetime. The beginning of it will be in our lifetime.
hmm.
So This is a unique time to be alive. If you identify as a star seed or a light worker, or it doesn't matter what, an elemental, whatever you want to call yourself, the fact that, and I don't use the word awake, I use the word lucid. The fact that you're lucid to this experience means that you're here to join with people like us, and you're here to waveform. Now, it's a case of there's an overabundance of wayshowers. And so it's all about what resonates with you. It's not about someone's resume or CV. It doesn't matter if they have letters after their name. It doesn't matter. It matters, does this feel good? Does this feel expansive? Do I feel empowered? Then take that route. And I think the beauty of what the nine are showing through me, particularly through me, is this idea that we are going to, they call it exploring. The next event horizon will be the great interior. And so what we're going to be doing is doing a deep dive into us, into our humanity, right? What does it mean to be a human? If we're not going to be worshiping the superstition anymore, if we're letting go of the Kali Yuga, what's left? Well, what's left is, color outside the lines. It's it's just play. It's do whatever you want. Now you guys get to co-create. Hallelujah, we've been waiting so long. Now you guys get it, right?
Hmm.
So join me. I mean, I'm going to be leaving some information. As I've said in the fall, there's a lot of information that's come through. This is early days for me, but I suspect what's going to happen is it's just going to get clearer and clearer, and we're going to grow something, and it's going to be centered around these nine values that are there to bring us all together. So anyone can get around these nine values. There's no one left behind, and I'm excited to do that. So there'll be a course, there'll be a book, and there are going to be these really interesting little grow spaces. And it may not be that we have a big grow space. It may be that we grow in small groups where we're intimately connected to each other.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that to me feels really beautiful. So
How exciting.
yeah, that's what's ahead. I guess that's ahead in the fall. Um,
Mm,
and I'll leave information. There are ways people
thank you.
can stay in touch. Yeah, let me
Yeah.
mention there are ways people
Yeah.
can stay in touch. I'm kind of mindful. It's people are like, well, where are you?
Yeah.
So if you if you type in Astara, I'll give you the link, Astara, and it's in Mighty
Hmm.
Networks. I'm there, like I said, Monday to Friday at 9 a.m. You'll catch me live in the community. It's a free plan. You can go in there
Yeah.
and create membership. The second place you can find me is on YouTube. I've got a channel called OMU, so OM with an N in parentheses and then U, which we'll put the link for. Um, and I'm on Instagram. And yeah, I've yet to develop a bigger platform, but right now that's where you can find me.
Hmm. And on Instagram, you're under Jacalyn S. Burke. Is that accurate?
No, on that's my private
Oh,
account.
sorry.
Actually, no, you can. It's totally fine. I listen. I live out loud. Doesn't matter.
Okay. I know.
Um, there's yeah. Come find me any which way you want. But for this particular body of work, it's called OM. So it's OM, and the N is in parentheses. So do we have like maybe 5 minutes for me to explain how that came about?
Yes, we
Okay.
do. And I will just to also wrap it up, I will also include your the links in the video when we post the video. So there's no question about what we're saying here.
Okay,
So yeah.
great. Thank you. So literally, came through. They shared this word, and it was OM, and then there was an N in parentheses. So the O and the M were caps, and then the M was lowercase.
Hmm.
And I'm like, is that a play on the presence of God? And they're like, yeah. But it also stands for the three Oms. So omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent. These are the three primary OMs that define creator matrix sentient quantum field God. And they said, but the N in parentheses stands for node, Node. And I'm like, node? No, what? That's a weird word. And I looked it up. And we have them in our brains. They're like these little points in a network that are hubs of information. they're portals, hubs and portals. And what they do is they act as a, you know, an information source, and they share their information along this massive network, and it's made up of tons of nodes. And they said humans are nodes, and the N stands for node, as in human. It stands for novel, and it stands for nuance. Novel
Mm,
because you have free will. So, and there's no irreverence in this joke. They said, what do you get the person who's got everything? You give them a novel experience. So creator God has everything, is everywhere. What do you do for someone like that, right? You give them a surprise. You give them the opportunity to reach down through the I am space and to co-create and live with you in this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rendition, three-dimensional rendition. And they said, now the nuanced is all on you. Yes, you come in with a heroic blueprint, you know, the hero's journey,
hmm
but you get to nuance it. You get to make the choices because there's such pleasure for creator in the nuanced human that it's not about not being in your body or being cloistered or reaching outside of yourself for a relationship with God. It's all about just connecting to yourself because that's where God lives. God is nested within you and you're nested within God. So we're always in the quantum field. And so all we're asked to do, and this is where the freedom comes in, Cindy. We're just asked to go knock yourself out and have your best life as Cindy Crockett. There's only one Cindy Crockett. Go knock yourself out and have a great life. Okay. And every time you have a beautiful glimmer now moment, golden now moment, that's an act of reverence for the divine.
mm,
That's an act of connection. And God seeks connection, not worship. God seeks connection. So we are divine players in this grand cosmos. And so what the nine are showing through what I'm learning about is that it's time to step into that role more fully. And
mm.
that's the beauty of it. It's so freeing. Yeah,
That is so beautiful.
expansive. Oh my
Beautiful.
God, they are beautiful. I mean, they truly are beautiful beings.
Mm, just
So,
absolutely beautiful. So thank you so
oh,
much,
thank
Miss
you. Thanks for the
Jacalyn.
opportunity to
Thank
share
you
it.
for the information you're sharing, and thank the nine for the information that they brought through today and for your ability to interpret. That takes a certain level, I
It's
think,
my
of
honor.
develop. Yeah. So thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. If there's anything else at this point that you want to add.
I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to you, Cindy, and I want to say thank you to everybody out there who is doing their bit to get to get us across the line. Because you know what, guys, we've got this. We've
Yeah,
got this.
we do.
So
So
thank you.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.